Welcome to a very special edition of Bowling Showcase, the only show that brings you everything bowling in the bowling capital of the world, Metro Detroit. I'm your host, Mark Martin, and I'm very happy that you've decided to spend your morning with us on Bowling Showcase. Today's show will feature all the action from this year's Michigan State USBC tournaments. That includes the State Queens, the State Masters, the State Senior Masters, the State Youth Masters, all in one show. Now for our first story, let's go check in with the Michigan State USBC Queens from Monitor Lanes in Bay City, now on Bowling Showcase. "61 of the state's best women bowlers put their skills to the test at Monitor Lanes in Bay City, competing in the 2022 Michigan State USBC Queens. After 10 games of qualifying, Julie Oczepik of Vassar was the top qualifier with 23.34, an average of 233. Sunday began with the top 8 qualifiers squaring off in an 8-game round-robin match play. Oczepik emerged as the top seed after match play and earned the top rung for the stepladder final. The first stepladder match saw Robin Orlikowski of Grand Rapids facing off against Tamika Glenn of Belleville. Orlikowski edged out Glenn 212 to 195 to continue moving up the ladder. Orlikowski then squared off against Sarah Pettinger of Kentwood. Orlikowski advanced to the championship match with a 246 to 181 victory. The final match was now set between top seed Julie Oczepik and Robin Orlikowski. As a highly competitive match ensued, with both ladies continuing their highly skilled bowling. Oczepik beat Orlikowski 225 to 217 and claimed the 2022 Michigan State Queens title and first prize of $2,000. This is Oczepik's third State Queens title, previously winning in 2002 and 2016.
I feel great. I'm very overwhelmed. This is my third Queens. First one I won 20 years ago, and I'm just ecstatic. Yes, so in the final match, I wasn't carrying. So I went back to my boyfriend and asked him, "What do you see?" Said I need to slow down a little bit, roll the ball, and be you. And that's what I did, and that's what got me the strikes, plus the open I had in the middle of the game didn't help either.
Congratulations to Michigan State Queens champion Julie Oczepik. Great bowling, Julie. Now it's time to turn our attention to the Michigan State USBC Senior Masters from M66 Bowl in Battle Creek, now on Bowling Showcase. Jeff Ostrang of Waterford won the 2022 Michigan State USBC Senior Masters Tournament and the $1,500 prize with a 454 to 344 victory over Stephen Krivy of Sterling Heights at M66 Bowl in Battle Creek. Ostrang qualified 6th with a 6-game total of 1237 and a high game of 280. Going into the final game of qualifying, he was outside the cut line, but a closing game of 221 moved him into 6th place. He remained in the winner's bracket of the double elimination event with wins over Mike Snow of Windsor, 402 to 396. Then Krivy the first time, 448 to 433. And top qualifier Gerald Johnson of Taylor, 499 to 428 to earn his spot in the championship match. Crivey qualified second with 1292, including a high game of 258. He started match play by beating Billy Orlikowski of Grand Rapids 441 to 407 before falling to Ostrang the first time 448 to 433. He fought his way back into the championship match by beating Chris Slagner of Jenison 509 to 434, which also featured a 300 game by Crivey. Phil Zacharski of Chelsea, 479 to 454. Then tying Johnson at 460 and winning the two-game roll-off, 59 to 44. Johnson was the top qualifier with a steady 1371. After his loss to Crivey, he finished third for $500.
I feel fantastic. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It was a grind. I think just making the cut was the most challenging thing for me. I struggled yesterday in qualifying and had one big game that got me into the cut. And then I changed my game plan around a little bit for today, and things worked out. So I got lucky. I think that having my father here, my dad here to help me out was big. He sits in the back, he watches, he's the second set of eyes for me when I get a little confused. He settles me down. Yeah, it's, I'd say having my dad here and my wife here was huge for me.
Congratulations to Jeff Ostrang on his impressive victory. Time for a little break. We'll be right back after these messages with more Michigan State USBC coverage on Bowling Showcase.
If you've been involved in an auto accident, it can change your life. So can the attorneys at 1-800-LAWYERS. They have won thousands of cases and millions of dollars. When you need help, call 1-800-LAWYERS, the law office of Zamler, Schiffman, and Karfus.
The Michigan State USBC provides tournament competition and recognition for men, women, and youth bowlers in Michigan. Tournaments include Open, Women's, and Youth Championships. Also Youth Masters, Queens, Masters, and Senior Masters. Recognition includes first-time 300 games and 800 series for all members and 600 and 700 club memberships for women. Visit MichiganStateUSBC.com for entry blanks and more information on the Michigan State USBC.
The hug pickup, the home run swing, the drum major high step, the genuine joy, the unforgettable party, the food, the friends, the original social network. No matter who you are, it's always a great time. Grab your family, find a friend, and go bowling.
Our next story takes us back to M66 Bowl in Battle Creek, where the top bowlers in the state competed for the coveted Michigan State USBC Masters title. It was a wild weekend of bowling, so let's check in now on Bowling Showcase. Two-time defending champion Justin Knowles of Okemos three-peated as he won the 2022-23 Michigan State USBC Masters by defeating Carlton Chambers of Detroit 435 to 361 in a two-game match at M66 Bowl in Battle Creek. Knowles cashed for $2,000, while Chambers, he cashed for $1,000. Knowles had a six-game total of 1259 in qualifying. He closed with games of 269 and 251 to qualify fifth. In match play, he remained in the winner's bracket with wins over Brandon Gibson of Kalamazoo 434 to 350, Frank Snodgrass of Centerline 423 to 381, and Carlton Chambers the first time, 423 to 380. Chambers qualified second with 1285. He defeated J.R. Raymond of Clinton Township, 439 to 327. Mason Brantley of Detroit, 406 to 361. Before falling to Knowles, 423 to 380. Once in the losers bracket, he beat Raymond a second time, 481 to 447, to advance to the championship match.
Pretty wild. This is the back-to-back-to-back. This is the third time in a row, so this is pretty insane. Somebody told me it was the first time ever, so it was a goal coming in that I wanted to get, so happy to do it. I was the only lefty to make the cut, so I knew if I lined up, found something, that I could have a winning ball reaction, and found it. Made spares, tons of spares, threw a lot of good shots, and I think that was just about it. Willed myself into it, I think. There's a few pairs where they hooked up front a lot, where I had to throw it harder, or I had to spin it with my hand, and either one was a bad decision. It was just which is less bad and will not split every shot. In my match with Carlton in the winner's bracket final, we had a pair like that, and I was just lucky enough to throw it slow enough and kind of fight through it, and so that was a pretty challenging thing. Yeah.
Congratulations to Justin Knowles on his three-peat in the State Masters. Now from the adults to the youth, where the best youth bowlers in the state compete for scholarship points, junior gold spots, and youth masters titles from Lodge Lanes in Belleville, now on Bowling Showcase. Michigan State Youth Masters was held at Lodge Lanes in Belleville on the weekend of November 13th. 93 of Michigan's best youth bowlers, 66 boys and 27 girls, competed in this prestigious state event. After 8 games of qualifying on Saturday, it was Donald Jacobs leading the boys with 1792, and Alyssa Van Horn leading the girls with 1644, heading into Sunday's match play. After getting a bye for the first round of matches, girls' top qualifier Van Horn was knocked into the losers bracket when she lost to Aria Ragland 344 to 297, and never quite regained her bowling success from Saturday's qualifying rounds. Melanie Straub, who qualified 4th with 1482, also got a bye in the first round, but then continued her skilled bowling by first beating Morgan Brunner 437 to 360, then dispatching Aria Ragland 344 to 297. Her next match against Elizabeth Tuber proved how fickle the lanes can be on any given day. Both bowlers struggled finding their line and trying to find a ball that would work for them. At the end of the brutal match, Straub won by 4 pins, 308 to 304, securing her spot in the championship match. Elizabeth Tuber, she qualified second with an 8-game total of 1644. In match play, she beat Ryan Geis 391 to 321. She then rattled off her next win against Rebecca Music 334 to 319 before being knocked into the losers bracket with her loss to Straub. Once in the losers bracket, Tuber then had to face off against Music again and won her match 413 to 343 to move into the championship round and reface Melanie Straub for the title. In the championship round, Tuber handed Straub her first loss of the day when she easily beat her 465 to 334 in the first two-game match. This being a double elimination tournament, in order to win the title, Tuber had to beat Straub in a second two-game match. This final match was much closer with both bowlers making great shots. But when the last pins fell, it was Elizabeth Tuber who won the title of Michigan State Youth Masters Champion for the girls by beating Straub 416 to 407.
Oh, they played tough all day. I mean, they were tight, and so you only had like 2 boards to play max. And you saw that Melanie and I both kind of lost it. We just could not figure it out. But then it opened up, and you were able to play the lane right where you wanted to. Well, I found my line in the match before, so I kind of had an idea of where I was going to play the lanes at, which gave me a little bit more confidence than what I would have had going into that match before.
On the boys' side, 11th place qualifier Nick Weidenbach tore through the winner's bracket by pulling off impressive wins over Alex Harwood 423 to 365, Levi Riggleman 440 to 370, and Zachary Sisk 466 to 345. In the toughest match of his day so far, Weidenbach defeated Kyle Pranger 381 to 375 to earn his place in the championship round. Kyle Pranger was the 12th boys qualifier heading into match play. He stayed in the winner's bracket with wins over Tony DeLucia 383 to 313, Dylan Maurer 369 to 360, and top qualifier Donald Jacobs 408 to 338 before being sent to the losers bracket after his match with Weidenbach. Once in the losers bracket, Kyle Pranger had to face off against his younger brother, Caden Pranger, beating him 382 to 352 to work his way back to the championship match. The final match was a grinding battle between the two bowlers, the fatigue of a long day starting to show on both. Pranger beat Weidenbach in the first two-game match 408 to 393, forcing a second and decisive final match. In the end, Kyle Pranger put up a gallant effort, but Nick Weidenbach was a little more consistent with his game during the second match. In the final frames, when he needed it most, Nick Weidenbach threw the balls he needed and claimed the Michigan State USBC Boys Youth Masters title with a 442 to 395 victory over Kyle Pranger.
Feels great. Yeah, it was a really tough time this entire time, but I just took my time and made sure I made my shots. Feeling really confident, but Kyle, he's a great bowler, so I had to bowl really good, and thankfully I did.
Congratulations to girls champion Elizabeth Tuber and boys champion Nick Weidenbach. Very impressive. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages. Metro Detroit USBC, your source for everything bowling in the bowling capital of the world. We are the largest affiliate of the United States Bowling Congress with over 30,000 members of all ages. We support USBC certified league competition and organize USBC certified tournament competition. We provide 18 tournaments for all members of our association, including men, women, youth, seniors, scratch, and handicap competition. The top reasons for belonging to the Metro Detroit USBC are having your average recognized, bonding of league funds, rules of the game, assistance in resolving league issues, equipment standards of the game, charities, and awards. Visit us at mdusbc.com.
1-800-Lawyers has been winning cases for over 50 years in Southfield, Detroit, Warren, Taylor, Macomb, and all over Michigan. When it matters and you need help, call 1-800-Lawyers.
The hug pickup, the home run swing, the drum major high step, the genuine joy, the unforgettable party, the food, the friends, the original social network. No matter who you are, it's always a great time. Grab your family, find a friend, and go bowling.
The Michigan State USBC provides tournament competition and recognition for men, women, and youth bowlers in Michigan. Tournaments include Open, Women's, and Youth Championships. The MD USBC Women's and Men's Series returns January 8th at Thunderbolt Lanes in Allen Park. This is the third of 5 scratch events designed for women and men bowlers to hone their skills on keen competition. Those bowling in all 5 events and the top 15 in the points list get invited to the RIP 10 Invitational, which concludes the season in May. The top 15 players in the points list earn additional prize money. Robin Orlikowski was last year's Women's Cup champion, and Corey Miller won the Men's Cup. Here's your chance to see how you stack up. The MD USBC Super Senior Masters will come to Plaza Lanes in Plymouth on January 14th and 15th. After 5 games of qualifying on Saturday, the top players 60 and older will come back on Sunday for a single-game, double elimination match play competition. When the smoke clears, a new champion will be crowned. The entry fee is only $110. Joe Krajewski is the defending champion. Thunderbolt Lanes in Allen Park is the host of the MD USBC Senior Masters on February 4th and 5th. This event will feature the best bowlers 50 years of age and older. Mike McCleskey is the defending champion. The entry fee is $140 with a first prize of $2,000 based on 120 entries. Pick up the phone and give us a call to compete against the best senior bowlers around. The annual Women's and Open Championship Tournament, commonly known as the City Tournament, kicks off February 4th at Plaza Lanes in Plymouth. Action continues through March 12th unless extended. This low-cost handicap and scratch tournament is popular and open to all MD USBC members. Not only is it fun, it's competitive, and you could win money and a title. What more could you ask for? Don't miss out on this favorite tournament. Call the MD USBC office at 248-443-2695, extension 105, for more information or to enter, or visit mdusbc.com. Welcome back. Sharon Schildroth, Michigan State USBC Association Manager, dedicated over 50 years of her life to bowling in Michigan. Now, she had a hand in continuing these events featured on today's show. Sadly, we lost this great bowling leader after a short illness. Here's a tribute to Sharon. Sharon Schildroth was a dedicated bowling leader in Michigan starting over 50 years ago, working in the office of the Detroit WBA. She served on the Detroit WBA and the Detroit YABA boards prior to moving to Grand Rapids. Once in Grand Rapids, she quickly joined the Grand Rapids WBA and YABA boards. She loved working with youth tournaments and encouraging the next generation of bowlers. Along with her husband Roger, they served on the Michigan State YABA board, attending youth meetings for over 40 years. Sharon was the state YABA secretary for many of those years. Her next logical step was to join the Michigan State WBA board. Her financial background led to being chair of the finance committee in addition to several others. Now, when the need for an association manager arose, in addition to her state youth association manager role, she took up the challenge. She was instrumental in working to create the merged Michigan State USBC in 2019 and quickly became their association manager. She won several awards over the years, including election into the Michigan State WBA and Grand Rapids WBA Halls of Fame. She also was honored as USBC Volunteer of the Year and received the Thomas W. McKay Award for Lifetime Achievement from the Detroit Bowling Hall of Fame. She bowled in 47 consecutive WIBC USBC Women's Championships, in addition to countless local and state championships. Her best accolades came when an adult bowler would come up to her and say, "Mrs. Schildroth, I remember you from youth bowling." That's all the recognition she needed. Her family and all of Michigan bowling will miss her enthusiasm and dedication. Rest in peace, my friend, from every bowler, past and present, in Michigan. We'd like to thank all the participants in all of this year's Michigan State tournaments and hope to see you all competing next year. We'd also like to thank the Michigan State USBC Board and President Mary DeBoer for keeping Michigan at the top of the bowling game. Well, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed this special edition of Bowling Showcase. Remember, you can always watch every episode on YouTube. Just look for our Bowling Showcase channel. So connect with us on Facebook or email us at bowlingshowcase@gmail.com. We're interested in your feedback. Remember, keep your eyes on the mark, and we'll see you next time on Bowling Showcase.